Good morning, Internet fans. Ryan Perry, Simple Biz Support. Today is Thursday, February 25th. Therefore, it is Internet Marketing Thursday. And as usual, I have Virginie Dorn with Business Website Center down in Petaluma. Good morning, Virginie.
Good morning and happy Thursday from Petaluma. How you doing?
Happy Thursday indeed. It's a sunny day. I'm going to actually take advantage of this great weather and go snow skiing tomorrow. Hopefully the snow isn't too soft. We'll see what happens.
Life is hard for us in California.
Sometimes it is, but you know, I had to do a search yesterday in order to find out what the weather is going to be like and all those type of things. And being an SEO guy, an internet marketing guy, of course I use Google. And we're going to talk about the fact that there are other search engines out there besides Google. And we're going to talk about some numbers, because even though everybody knows Google's the default search engine, that doesn't mean you want to ignore some of the other ones that are out there.
Correct. And we'll focus on the 5 most popular search engines in the world, and we'll list them in order of importance. And after this session today, you'll understand why we talk about Google all the time. Because after all, they're still the powerhouse. They still hold 65% of all internet searches in the world. So they're not to be taken lightly.
Yeah, but the key thing is that with 65%, that means there is 35% out there. And I think for people that are looking for national search results or even international search results, ignoring the other search engines could be detrimental, because we're going to get into the numbers of how many searches are done every day, every month, and it's a staggering number.
Yes, people who love numbers are going to love today's webinar. That's for sure. What I like to do is actually do a screen share, so let me do that.
All right. And since we are doing this in numerical order, number 1 at top, we already know Google's up there. And we're going into that screen share first.
Yeah, we'll start there just to give people a rough estimate of what's going on. If you actually go to Internet Live Stats, it's really captivating. It shows you for the day how many users are they, how many websites are built. And this is today's stats. I mean, there's almost 1 billion websites currently. And they even tell you how many users. On average, there's 3.5 billion internet searches every single day. 3.5 billions, not millions, billions. And Google alone, like currently, just alone for today, like from the time midnight came around to right now, it's almost 1.875 million searches, which is crazy. Oh, billion, sorry. The number is so big. But yeah, let's talk about the search engine. So the most popular one to date is still Google. Again, I call it a powerhouse. It represents 65% of all web searches. It was started not that long ago, back in 1997. So it's not that old of a search engine. And it's an incredible market share. And I'm going to show you, you're familiar with Google's homepage. It doesn't get simpler than that. It is very streamlined. It's simple to use. They don't even have a magnifying icon. It's so clean and modern. And maybe this is the reason behind their success, beside the fact also that they do render the best quality search results when looking for something. You personally, how do you feel about the Google cleanliness in comparison to Bing, Yahoo, Ask, AOL, all being the first, top 5 search engines, and then you go back to Google, the leader in the industry?
Yeah, and you know what I love is the fact that you don't even have to go to Google anymore in most of the web browsers. I use Chrome, and I just type in the URL. What it alleviates one step in the overall process. I can just type something in the URL bar, and it automatically pulls up a Google search.
Yes, but interestingly, is most computers out there are PCs, and they come with Bing as their default search engine, or a Microsoft Edge, or whatever browsers, and then it has Bing as the search engine. But a lot of people will switch in that small box you were referring to. They'll switch it back to Google because they do prefer Google. So they overwrite the computer manufacturer's default. They still do, which I think is kind of insane, and it shows the support of Google users have for the company. Now, I mentioned earlier that they are champion in search results quality. Indeed, they tweak their search algorithm quite frequently, which drives you and I crazy because we constantly have to adapt to the new algorithm. But they do it to keep up with the trends, to keep up with the internet users' preferences, what are people now expecting and wanting to see. Out of all the top search engines, they're the one that really pay attention and have a pulse on what internet users want, and they render results accordingly, and this is why they're still very popular.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go into Bing and check them out, because they are the #2 search provider, correct?
Correct. Bing started a little bit later. It is the replacement search engine for Microsoft. It used to be Live Search. You might remember also prior to Live Search, we had MSN Search, Window Live Search. If you have not heard of them, you're not the only one. They were not very popular. So Bing is the newest search engine, started in 2009, and it does represent 21% of all web searches in the world. So not to be taken lightly. So if you look at Google and Bing, between the two of them, most searches go through their search engine. And then below that, you have a bunch of different search engines that are going after 1%, 5%, really small percentage of the market share. You're looking at Bing here, a little bit more visual, still very simple. They did keep the Google way of doing things where you can look at who is Ryan Carey, and then it'll tell you. But nonetheless, it's a little bit busier. It does come as a default with all new computers, and sent a powerhouse on their own.
And I think the key thing with Bing that you brought up is the fact that it's 21% of all searches are done through Bing. And part of that I think is strictly because of the fact that Microsoft, like you said, it's automatically the default search engine on a PC, and therefore your average home user is probably going to be those Bing users for a lot of it, simply because they didn't make the switch. People that are a little bit more tech savvy are going to be, okay, I'm going to go ahead and make that switch and convert over to Google. So you may find different results on your website if you look at your Google Analytics as far as engagement from a Bing follower versus a Google follower, possibly.
Correct. So I think the benefit to the fact that Microsoft is their company and is a manufacturer of most computers around the world. So without this, they would not be able to hold that much of a market share. The thing that Bing is a far greater quality search engine than they've had compared to everything they've tried in the past. It's more in line with Google. It is still not Google. It still doesn't have the same quality results than Google offers, but nonetheless, it's getting a little closer, and Microsoft has done a better job with that search engine. And I think Bing is going to start gaining a little bit more momentum. But nonetheless, Google is going to remain #1 for many years to go. And I don't see how they will ever go away. When you hold 65% of the market share, it's almost like a monopoly at this point. I mean,
yeah, I think they would have to really mess things up in order to really have that market share eroded. And the one thing that's interesting is when I believe it was when Bing debuted, or it might have been shortly after, they're actually paying people to use their search engine. The more you search, you got credits somehow. I never signed up, but I know they're still giving away money if you use Bing for search.
They do actually. Just got a $5 Target card. They do accumulate points for using Bing. I think it's brilliant. It's one of the marketing campaigns they've launched, and it's not that long ago they launched and pushed it. And it's brilliant. I think you're paying people, and you can redeem those dollar amounts at Target, Starbucks. You're talking the big retail shops out there. But it's kind of sad that they do have to pay and rewards their users in order to keep them. and then again, they have to do that. But again, Bing has Microsoft behind the scenes, so they have a lot of money, a lot of marketing experience, and I can see them gaining a little bit more market share. Now we can go to
the other thing I just thought of, just reminded me, there was an article, I want to say maybe 2 weeks ago, that Google reportedly paid Apple like $1 billion to be their default search engine. So as we move into more and more users, actually there's more users on mobile these days than there are desktops. You know, that mobile search becomes very important with all the Android devices. Of course, they're using Google. And then with Apple, at least right now, because there's an agreement between Apple and Google, Google is the default search engine with Apple these days too, with the iPhone.
Oh, wow, I didn't know about that. That's huge. I mean, so again, Google is here to stay, whether you like it or not. So it's important to pay attention to what Google wants to see in your website when you're ready to optimize it. Now, if we go to the third most popular search engine in the world, it is Yahoo. Yes, it's still around at 12.5% of all web searches. It started back in 1994, so it's a little older as a search engine. And primarily, it has its popularity by the fact that their email program, yahoo.com, you know, is the most popular email program out there. So a lot of people, a lot of traffic going through Yahoo is because people are actually checking their Yahoo email inbox. And then they are there and they're doing a search. So it does help them, but little by little, people are switching email programs, and Yahoo is going to lose popularity unless they come up with something else. But again, their email program is what makes them the third search engine in the world. As we move along, we can talk to number 4 and 5, and you're going to see drastically what changes. This is Ask.com. You may have not heard about it. That's because only 3% of searches are done through Ask.com. It's come a long way. It's a question and answer based website where you can ask things like, oh, what is Ryan Perry's middle name? Or, you know, how did the universe start? How old is Tom Hanks? Crazy kind of questions that will give you answers. Problem is, it's sometimes inaccurate or too vague. And that's most web users don't know, but Ask, they only hold 3%. So if you can focus on Google, Bing, and Yahoo, you're in very good shape because they hold most of the web searches in the world. And as we're wrapping up today, the 5th one is still AOL. Yes, it still exists. Someone just asked me that question recently. Well, does AOL still exist? It does, and it holds 1%. And it is the 5th most popular search engine, but it still only holds 1% of all searches. It is the oldest, back in 1983, when I was 12 years old. Yeah, now you know my age.
You've got mail.
Yes, we all remember that. Well, at least you and I do. Maybe
back in the dial, I paid by the minute with AOL. You know, you got the disc in the mail, stuck it in the computer, loaded the program, which probably took a half hour because, gosh, I don't even know how fast the machines were running 4 megs of RAM. It was pretty crazy back in the day. And then, of course, dial-up. You know, when I got my first 56K modem, I was like, yeah, we're going to be cruising now, 56K, none of that 28.8 anymore.
That was America Online back then. You remember?
Yeah.
It was America Online.
Yep. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, things have changed. So Google has maintained the first top place for a long time. You do need to pay attention to them, but don't disregard Bing and Yahoo. And truly, if you're optimizing your website, don't worry about the other search engine. Really focus on those top 3, and you'll be in very, very good shape for the indexation of your website.
Yeah, there's you know, and it's interesting because sometimes as business owners, we get a little greedy and we want everything. It's like, I want to be in Google, I want to be in Yahoo, and I want to be Bing. If you're playing well in Google, you know, if you're in the top 3 on Google and you're doing well, then be happy with that. You know, if your Yahoo and your Bing aren't quite there, that's okay, because the last thing you want to do is make changes to try and attract Yahoo and Bing and then lose Google. And I've noticed that over the years that for whatever reason, keywords that typically rank well on Google, you know, they do a search engine or a ranking report for clients. If they search well for Google, a lot of times they may be on the first page on Yahoo or Bing, but a lot of times they might be on the second page. And then the client's like, ah, you know, we're on Google, yay, but I want to get Yahoo and Bing up on the first page. And that can be dangerous because you go down the report to some other keywords and you're not even on Google, but you're on the first page of Yahoo and Bing. And it's like, where would you rather be? So sometimes don't be greedy. Focus on the Google. You'll be fine. Yes, there's another 35% out there, but especially for local traffic, you know, just focus on Google. You'll be fine.
I totally agree with you about taking that risk to change your good position in Google just to cater to Yahoo or AOL or all those little search engines. Not worth the risk.
Yeah, just don't do it. All right, Virginie, that is it for today's show on the top 5 search engines. We will be back next week, same place, same computer, to talk some more great internet marketing tools and tidbits. As always, I appreciate the time and energy that you put into the show, and I hope you have a great day.
You too. Goodbye.
All right, everybody, that's it for today's show. We will see you next week. Take care.